Hi everyone, hope you all are good. So we are here for grade 7 maths. So you can find all the lessons on aplus2students.com. You have to log in there using your email address and password is provided by the administrator. Then you have to select math from the subject tab. Scroll down to grade 7 maths and then click on view all button. So there you can find a list of the chapters. So we're going to start with the chapter ratios, rates and proportions. Here is the list of the lessons we are going to cover today. They are do the ratios form a proportion, do the ratios form a proportion word problems, solve proportions word problems, and then we'll do equivalent ratios. So please make sure before starting the test is the lesson you have your notebook and pencil so that you can note down the important examples and definitions as well. So let's start with the first lesson, that is do the ratios form a proportion. So here I am on grade 7 maths. The chapter name is ratios, rates and proportions. And here is the lesson, do the ratios form a proportion. So let's just start with the lesson. So let's start with the first example. So let's start with the first example, that is do the ratios 6 by 12 and 1 by 12 form a proportion. So you are given two of the ratios. You just have to see if they form a proportion. Got it? So how can we see if the ratios form a proportion? So let's start with the explanation. So to determine whether the two ratios 6 by 12 and 1 by 2 form a proportion, you have to compare the ratio. Got it? And you can compare them using a common denominator as they have different denominators. One of them is 6 by 12, the other one is 1 over 12. Got it? First, let's just make the denominator it. Like for the smaller one, you have 1 over 12, 1 over 2. So you have to make this denominator equal to 12. Got it? You have to make this denominator equal to the greater one. Got it? You have to make this denominator 12. So you have to multiply this fraction by 2. So just multiply numerator and denominator by 2 by 6. So when you multiply numerator and denominator by 6, it makes 6 by 12. Got it? So the other one is also already 6 by 12, and the one you just multiplied by 6 makes 6 by 12. Got it? So that means they have the common denominator, that is 12. So that means when the ratios are written with a common denominator, the numerator is same, so the ratios must have a same denominator. Got it? Just their, if their denominator is same and their numerator is also same, so that means the ratios form a proportion. Got it? Okay, let's just do the next another example. Okay, the next do 7 over 9 and 1 over 9 form a proportion. So you have here given two of the fractions. You need to see if they form a proportion. Got it? So how can you see if they form a proportion? You have to compare both the fractions. Got it? First of all, we have to make their denominators same. Got it? So here you have 1 over 3 and here you have 7 over 9. So basically you have to make this smaller denominator also equals 9. Got it? So 3 times 3 makes 9. So let's just multiply this fraction by 3. 1 times 3 and 3 times 3. 1 times 3 is 3 over 9. Now 3 over 9 and the other fraction is 7 over 9. They have common denominators, but they have different numerators. Got it? They are not same. If their numerators are same, that means the fractions are form a proportion. Now they have the different numerators, same denominator, but different numerators. That means they don't form a proportion. Got it? Let's just start with the practice questions. Okay, the fun is do the ratios 2 by 1 and 13 by 9 form a proportion. So let me just write down the question on the board, then we'll. Okay, so we can see if the we can see if the fractions form a proportion. You just have to compare them. Got it? You have to compare both the fractions. Got it? So to compare, you have to make their denominators same. One of them is 2 over 1 and the second one is 13 over 9. Got it? So you have to make this denominator equal to 9. Got it? So we have to do 1 times 9. That means you have to multiply this fraction by 9. It is 2 times 1 and 1 times 9. So 2 times 1 is 2 and 9 times 1 is 9. So after now when they have the common denominators, just look at their numerators. They have different numerators. Here you have 13 and here you have 2. Got it? That means these fractions do not form a proportion. The answer is no, they don't form a proportion. Got it? Because they have same denominators, but their numerators are still different, so they don't form any proportion. Got it? So the answer is no. Got it? Okay, let's just move on to the another question. Okay, the next one is do the ratios 2 by 10 and 2 by 1 form a proportion? Okay, let me just write down the question on the board. Okay, the next one is do the ratios 2 by 10 and 2 by 1, 20 by 10 and 2 by 1 form a proportion. So you have two of the fractions, they are 20 over 10 and 2 over 1. Got it? So first of all, you have to make the smaller denominator equal to the greater one. Got it? So 1 times 10 is 10. So you have to multiply this fraction by 10. Got it? So when you multiply that time, it makes 10 times 2 is 20 and 10 times 1 is 10. So look, they have these common denominators. Got it? You can just compare their numerators. So they have the equal numerators. Got it? That means 20 over 10 and 2 over 1 form a proportion. Got it? So that means they form a proportion. Got it? The correct option is yes. Just make their numerators same. If they have the same denominators, just make their denominators same. And if they have the same numerators, that means they form a proportion. Got it? Okay. The next one is okay. The next one is do the ratios 3 over 8 and 6 over 12 form a proportion. Okay, so one of them is 3 over 8 and the other one is 6 over 16. So just make this denominator equal to 16. Got it? So 8 times what number is 16? 8 times 2 is 16. Got it? So just multiply this fraction by the numerator and denominator as well. So it would be 3 times 2 is 6 and 3 times 6 is 18. Just compare these two fractions. They have the common denominator. And just look at their numerators. They have common numerators also. Got it? That means yes, the fractions form a proportion. So the correct option is yes, they form a proportion. Got it? The correct option is yes. Okay. You can complete the test by yourself later today. Let me just move on to the next lesson. Got it? So if you need more help with the lesson, you can contact any tutor on the Skype. They are available from Monday to Friday, 5 to 9. Got it? Okay, the next one is solve do the ratios form a proportion word problem. So let's just start with the word problems. Okay, Let's start with the first example. Do these ratios form a proportion? 16 knives ratio 2 spoons and 20 knives ratio 3 spoons. So basically you have to do the same thing. Got it? So you have to compare both the fractions. You have to make their denominator same. If they have the numerator same, that means they are the equivalent ratios. Got it? Just form a proportion. It is 16 ratio 2. So it would be 16 over 2. 16 knives to 2 spoon, it would be 16 over 2, and 20 knives to 3 spoons, so it would be 20 times 3. Got it? So you have to make their denominator same. Either you can cross multiply them, just cross multiply them. Multiply 3 times 16 and multiply the other side 2 times 2. 6 times 3 is 48 and 2 times 40 is 20. 40 times 2 is 40. So 40 and 48 are not equivalent, so that means they don't form any proportion. Okay, so the correct option is no. Let's just start with the other example. The other example is 9 over 9 friends to 7 strangers, so it would be 9 over 7. The other one is 18 friends to 14 strangers, so it would be 18 over 14. Let's just make their denominator same. Here you have 7, here you have 14. Got it? So 7 times what number is 14? 7 times 2 is 14. So let's just multiply this fraction by 2. It would be 9 times 2 is 18 and 7 times 2 is 14. You can see if they have the common denominators. Yes, they have. And also they have the same numerators too. Got it? That means yes, this is the ratios, the fractions form the proportion. Let's just start with the practice questions. Okay, do these ratios form a proportion? 18 amateurs to 14 professionals and 14 amateurs to 17 professionals. So it would be, let me just write down the question on the board, then we'll start. Okay, so we have to see if these ratios form a proportion. Got it? So the ratios are 18 over 14 and 14 over 17. Got it? So you have to compare these two fractions. So let's just multiply there. Let's just do cross multiplication. Multiply this denominator to numerator, 18 times 17 and 14 times 14. Got it? Let's multiply. Let me just use calculator. 18 times 17 is, here we have 18 times 17 is 306 and 14 times 14 is 196. They are not equal. Got it? That means no, they don't form any proportion. Got it? The correct option is no. Got it? Okay, the next one is, do the ratios form a proportion? And the ratios are 9 goals. Wait, let me just write it down on board. Do these ratios form a proportion? 9 goals for every 12 fouls and 3 goals for every 4 fouls. So basically the fractions are 3 over 4 and 9 over 12. Got it? Just do cross multiplication, numerator times denominator and denominator times numerator, you have to do 3 times 12 and 9 times 4. Got it? So 3 times 12 is 36 and 9 times 4 is 36. So yeah, they are equal. Got it? That means they form proportion. Got it? So the correct option is yes, they form a. So when you multiply them, they have the same answer, that they are equal. That means yes, they have the. Okay, so the correct option is yes. Okay, the next one is, do these ratios form a proportion? Professors for 12 for 2 students and 18 professors for 4 students. Okay, let's just see if they have if the fractions are equivalent. Got it? So you have to do 9 over 2 and 19 over 4. So you just have to multiply, just cross multiply them. You can do 9 times 44 and that equals 19 times 2. 9 times 4 is 36 and 19 times 2 is 38. So they are not equal. So the correct option is no, they don't. They do not form any proportion. Got it? So the correct option is no. Okay, they do not form any proportion. Okay, the next one is 18 children, 10 adults, and 14 children to 7 adults. I think the answer is no. Okay, do these ratios form a proportion? And the ratios are 18 over 9 and 14 over 7. So just cross multiply them. 18 times 7 and 9 times 14. Got it? Sorry. Okay, let me just do again. 18 over 9 and 14 over 7. So you have to compare them, just multiply numerator time numerator and denominator time. So it will be 18 times 7 and that equals 18 times 9. Got it? So let me just check. 18 times 7 is 18 times 7 is 126 and 14 times 9 is 126. So they are equal. Got it? That means yes, that means yes, these ratios form a proportion. Got it? The correct option is yes. Got it? Okay, you can complete the test by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. Okay, the next one is, okay, let's just start with the first example. Let me just read the questions. Just listen to me carefully. So let me read the questions. Just listen to me carefully. Zach baked 24 cookies with 4 scoops of flour. How many scoops of the flour does Zach need in order to bake 36 cookies? Assume the relationship is directly proportional. Got it? So that means the relationship is directly proportional. Directly proportional means if one of the if one of the if one of the quantity is increasing, that means the other is also increasing. Got it? So the ratios are 24 over 4. Just form the ratios. The ratios are 24 cookies with 4 scoops, so it would be 24 over 4. And then how many scoops of flour does Zach need in order to bake 36 cookies? So it would be 36 over n. You have to find basically the n. Got it? Okay, so let's just, it would be 24 over 4 and 36 over 9. Got it? So first of all, you have to complete that 4. And here you have the n. You have to complete the 4n from both sides. So let's just multiply both sides by 4n. Basically, we have to remove the denominator. So here you have n and here you have n. 24 times n is 24n and 36 times 4 is 144. Got it? So you have to calculate the value of n. So just divide both sides by 24. So we are left with n here, and 24, 144 times 24 is, so it would be, so you have to divide both sides by 4. Got it? So it would be n, and 144 over 4 is 144 over 24 is 6. Got it? That means the one, that means with the 6 scoops of flour, Zach can make 36 cookies. Got it? Let's just start with the practice questions. Okay, let me just write down the question on the board. Okay, Zach took a total of 25 cookies over the course of 5 weeks. So let's just form a proportion. So the proportion is 25 over 5. Okay, the next one is, how many weeks of school will Alice have to attend this quarter before she will have taken a total of 35 quizzes? So now she has 35 quizzes, but she don't know how many weeks. Got it? So you have to calculate the weeks. Here you have, and here you have 5. So basically you have to remove denominator from both sides. You have 5 and here you have n. They are dividing, so just multiply them using 5n. 5 and 5 got cancelled out. You are left with 25n. Here you have n and n cancel out, to 35 times 5 is, so it would be 35 times 5 is, let me just multiply. 35 times 5 is 175. Got it? So it is 175. So you have to calculate the value of n only, divide both sides by 25. So it would be 25 times 5 is, I think 7 is, I think 127. 175 divided by 25. Yes, it is 7. Got it? That means if she have 35 quizzes, that means it would be n equals 7. Got it? So the correct option is n equals 7. Got it? So the correct option is, just select the correct option, then click on the OK button. Okay, the next one is a Brenda charred 21 liters of jam after 3 days. How many did how many days did Brenda spend making jam if she jarred 35 liters of jam? Got it? So it would be 21 over 3 in 21 liters jam jarred in 3 days. How many days did Brenda spend 35 liters jam? Basically, you have to calculate the days. Got it? Just multiply both sides by 3n because you have to remove the 3 and also the n from the denominator. So 3 and 3 cancel out and n cancel out. So you're left with 20. And here you have 35 times 3 is 105. Got it? So just divide both sides by n because we have to calculate the value of n only. Got it? So 105 divided by 5 is 105 divided by 21. So the it is 5. Got it? That means if she have to jar 35 liters of jam, she have to work 5 days. Got it? N equal 5. Got it? So, okay, let's just start with the next question. Okay, so the correct option is 5. Let's just start with the other example. Okay, let me just copy and paste the question. Okay, the question is Leslie prepared 12 kilograms of dough after 6 hours. How much dough did Leslie prepare if she worked for 9 hours? Got it? So it would be 12 over 6. So you have to calculate the n and divide it by 9 because you are given with 9 hours. Got it? Just do cross multiplication. It would be 12 times 9 and 10. So 12 times 9 is so 9 times 12 is 12, 9 times 2 is 18, 108 equals 6. And now you have to calculate the value of n only, divide both sides by 6. So here you have left with n, and 6 times 1 is 6 and 6 times 8 is 48. That means if she worked for 9 hours, she will prepare 18 kilograms of dough. So n equals 18. Got it? Okay, so the correct option is 18. Okay, you can complete the test by yourself later today. Let me just move on to the next lesson. And the next lesson is okay, let's start with the next lesson, that is equivalent ratios. Let's start with the first example. Are these ratios equivalent? So we have already learned how to find if the ratios are equivalent. Got it? You have to compare these fractions if they are equivalent. So it is 3 over 4 and 15 over 12. Got it? So just cross multiply 3 by 4 and 15 by 12. Just cross multiply them. You have to do 20 times 3, and that equals 15 times 4. Got it? So 20 times 3 is 60 and 15 times 4 is 60. Got it? So yes, they are equivalent. Let's do another example. The next one is, are these ratios equivalent? They are 1 over 5 and 3 over 15. Got it? So 1 by 5 and 3 over 15, you have to compare these two fractions to see if they are equivalent. Got it? So you can either do cross multiplication or either you can make their denominator same. Got it? Okay, let's just start with the practice questions. Okay, the first one is, are these ratios equivalent? 1 by 4 and 2 over. Okay, are these ratios equivalent? The ratios are 1 over 4 and 2 over 8. Got it? So just cross multiply. 2 8 times 1 and 2 times 4. So 8 times 1 is 8 and 4 times 2 is 8. So yes, they are equivalent. So are these ratios equivalent? Yes, they are equivalent. Got it? So the correct option is yes. Okay, so for this one, the answer is yes. Let's just do another example. Okay, the next one is, are these ratios equivalent? 3 to 5 and 6 to 20. Okay, the fractions are 3 over 5 and 6 over 20. Got it? Just to cross multiplication, you have to do 20 times 3 and that equals 6 times 5. So 20 times 3 is 60 and 5 times 6 is 30. Got it? That means no, that these ratios are not equivalent. Got it? So the correct option is no. So the correct option is no, they are not equivalent. Okay, let's just move on to the next one. The next one is, are these ratios equivalent? 2 to 4 and 12 to 20. 2 to 4 and 12 to 20. Got it? Just to cross multiplication, so it would be 20 times 2 is 40 and they are not equivalent. They are not equal. So no, they are not equivalent. Got it? The correct option is no. Okay, the next one is, are these ratios equivalent? 1 by 2 and 2 over 4. Okay, they are 1 ratio 2 and 2 over 4. Got it? Just to cross multiplication, it would be 4 times 1 and 2 times 2. Got it? So 4 times 1 is 4 and 2 times 2 is 4. So they are equivalent. That means yes, these ratios are equivalent. Got it? So the correct option is yes. Okay, the next one is, are these ratios equivalent? 1 by 3 and 3 over 9. Okay, 1 over 3 and 3 over 9. Got it? Just to cross multiply to do 9 times 1. And here we have 3 times 3. So 9 times 1 is 9 and 3 times 3 is 9. Got it? Yes, they are equivalent. So the correct option is yes. Okay, the next one is, are these ratios equivalent 2 to 3 and 10 to 12? Okay, 2 to 3 and 10 to 12. Got it? Just to cross multiplication, you have to do 12 times 2 and 3 times 10. 12 times 2 is 24 and 3 times 10 is 30. So they are not equal. That means no, the fractions are not equivalent. So the correct option is no. They are not equivalent. Okay, the next one is, are these ratios equivalent 2 by 5 and 6 to 15? 2 to 5 and 6 to 15. Got it? So just to cross multiplication, it would be 15 times 2 and that equals 6 times 5. So 15 times 2 is 30 and 6 times 5 is 30. Got it? That means yes, they are equivalent. Got it? So yes, they are equivalent. Got it? Okay, you can complete the test by yourself later today. So we are working on grade 7 maths. The chapter we are working on is ratios, rates, and proportions. And the lessons we have covered today are from here. Does the ratios form a proportion? Do the ratios form a proportion word problem? Then we did solve proportions word problems and we just completed the equivalent ratios. Got it? So please make sure before the next session you have to complete all the test questions for the lessons we did today. So if you need more help with any of the lesson, you can contact any tutor on the Skype. They are available from Monday to Friday, 5 to 9. Got it? Okay, that's all for today. See you in the next session. Bye, everyone.